So with the release of the Pacific, there are a lot of things that are going to be extremely interesting and extremely well done, but however today's issue is, or this episode's issue, is going to be covering the things that are not as good, or the issues with the Pacific basically. My name is Napoleon Total, and this video has been made possible through the friends at Discord since I was the first to suggest what issues people had with the Pacific, so if you haven't joined the Discord or like or subscribe, I highly suggest that you do. With that said, without further ado, this is the issues with the Pacific. The first thing that we have is unfavorably unbalanced and heavily against the attackers. Maps are very long from point to point, and charging through water is called suicide, especially if no one builds rallies. There have been multiple games in which I was just going through the rivers, I was just taking points, but the issue is that it is heavily favored to defenders. And more so if you're playing on the Japanese side, in the sense that as a defenders you actually stand a chance, but as the attackers you basically stand no chance because one, the points are extremely long, and other issues are, unless you have premium players, then you're not going to have a good day. Another thing is that the demolition is going to be an extremely big issue in the sense that if you're going to be playing demolition, you're pretty much guaranteed to lose. There's actually no way around it, because the maps are long, and two, everyone who hasn't built rallies is just going to get slaughtered by crossing the river or just through the long distance, not to mention the fact that you basically have 0 to no cover against air, which, as of right now, that's actually a good thing. So, that said, yeah, one very unfavored towards the defenders, in the sense that it favors the defenders by a lot. Next thing it highly favors is premium players, aka if you have a Thompson, you're going to be shredding through people. Yes, the Thompson is a running around magazine Thompson, but no one really cares in the sense that it's still going to be like a Thompson M1920AA, so you're going to be shredding through people. The Japanese equivalent has 50 round magazines, but it's also pretty interesting. But needless to say, for the premium members, you're just going to be heavily favoring towards the premium members. As a matter of fact, I find that most of, if not all the times, the premium members are going to be on the top one. Usually, it's always about that. And this doesn't have to do with skill, it's just the fact that premium members literally have a lot of good equipment, so they're going to be shredding through people, which is a big issue because games now are just going to be, the premium members are going to get more and more XP, while the people who are trying to grind through the campaign without any money are just going to be stuck grinding the old-fashioned grind, except for it's going to be made worse because the person jumping out of a window with a Thompson aiming at you is just going to shred you. So that's not going to be fun. So, premium issue is going to be an issue. Next, the thing is that it favors the Americans. And when I mean it favors the Americans, the first thing that they get is the MGMC, and this thing is pretty devastating. Now, against, let's say, Tasa, it's going to just shred. Now, against other things, if they've done it correctly, it's going to pretty much shred against infantry because it has 12.7 machine gun, so it's going to shred. It's going to go through buildings, so don't expect that. And it has a better fire rate than the Tasa, which basically has a 20mm gun. Now, I'd rather have a machine gun at that point, 12.7 machine gun. The reason is simply the 20mm machine gun has a lot more, let's just say, reload time, and it's just really going to be hard to use, especially if the enemies are close up, which the two 12.7 machine guns actually do way better, so that's going to be an issue. The 12.7 machine guns on the MGMC are just going to be acting like two heavy machine guns on a car, so expect extremely heavy damage. The next thing they have for the Americans is the BAR, and that's just going to shred people. Once again, I do not know what Enlisted was thinking of bringing in the BAR. Honestly, I would have given the Americans either the Vickers Bredier or the Bren, because one, they're both actually way more balanced compared to the Type 11, and the American BAR is just going to shred through people. Like, I compared the BAR many times to the German FG-42, and it's pretty much American FG-42 in all regards. So you're gonna have a hard time playing as the Japanese if you encounter BAR spams and MGMC spams, of which there is a way that you can deal with the MGMCs, and there's sadly not a big way that you can deal with the BAR spams. This is not even mentioning, once again, the Thompsons, you get the premium squads, and other stuff that people have just gotten through, like right now, because I have seen people with M1A1 Thompsons, believe it or not, so that's going to be really interesting. So the next issue after that is the Japanese anti-tank gun. So, like I said, there is a counter to the MGMC, and that is the Japanese anti-tank gun, which is the Type 97 anti-tank gun, which, let's be honest, is quite interesting. However, the big issue that everyone has been screaming is that the model is 100% off. The Japanese anti-tank gun is not only 100% off, but it actually represents the Soviet PTRD, so that's going to be a big issue that I hope they fix. The next issue that they have are the map glitches. Once again, these are pretty minor, but also major issues, considering the fact that there are some map glitches in which you try to climb something and you instantly die. There have also been map glitches in which you can't go through buildings, you can't go through windows, and there's other map glitches in which once you try to climb through the windows, they don't break. Other map glitches include, like, there's this just rock, and then there's space, and there's just, like, space with a void. So, basically, like, but thankfully, the map glitches are very unnoticeable. I've been in a lot of games, and the map glitches aren't that noticeable, especially from a distance, so that's a good thing. With all the issues previously said, the launch has been pretty well. That said, a few issues that are still remaining, even coming from the older Enlisted, and I'm saying older Enlisted in the sense that pre-Pacific. For one, the progression issue is still there, the gray zone camping issue is still there, especially with the MGMC. Once again, you can take it out with the Japanese anti-tank gun, and it actually is extremely easy to take out. Just 3 shots and boom goes the entire thing. But once the Americans get their anti-tank guns, the Tasso will be equally as destructible. That said, they still didn't address the progression, which is going to be an issue, especially now, even more in the sense that because now you have bolt-action rifles, and boy oh boy, it's been pretty hard to actually progress via the Japanese tech tree, because basically, for a free-to-play player, you have to grind through BAR spams, and Americans just essentially gunning you down. Also, not to mention, that there is an issue, which I don't know if it's myself. For the Japanese, the sights are a big issue, and considering the fact that I'm still using bolt-action rifles, I believe that is a big problem. But the American sights are way better, so once again, it's a personal preference issue, so don't quote me on that if you really like the Japanese sights. With that said, this is all with my issues on the Pacific. What do you guys think? Comment in the comment section down below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and join the Discord, and I'll see you in the next one. Now before you leave, I would like to thank you very much for watching this video. I will be honored if you could like and subscribe to the channel. Remember, more videos are coming out, so it is a good idea to click on that notification button. Anyways, have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.